if I told you that the greatest game ever is not playable at the moment? That if you really want it back, all you have to do is click a couple of buttons. That if you, being one person, take care of this for yourself, it can happen for all of us.
I'm just gonna tell you what, say nobody football, what this has to be the best football game of all time. Doesn't matter expect your PlayStation 4, it's the greatest game of all time. Yes.
I'll tell you what, man. NCAA 14, man, that's blowing my mind, man.
Sure. Yeah. Football stuff. Yeah, you're gonna be okay.
If you are not watching football right now, I don't know what you are doing with your life. I really don't, Pippin.
All you have to do is follow the link in the description and go and vote. So that those of us who love the game of college football can enjoy it on our Xbox Ones and possibly our PlayStation 4s. Please go and vote. Thank you, and God bless.
What is going on, everybody? It is the DM Gaming Morning Show on this wonderful Wednesday morning. I don't know where y'all stay at, but we got a little bit of rain this morning. Me, I'm in the large state of Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas, right? Glad to be here this morning. Can we get the crowd involved? Oh. Hey, you. Hey, you. Hey, you. Hey, you. Hey, you. Pretty interesting show we got lined up for you today. Not a whole lot in the way of sports news, but I think we'll have a pretty good discussion today. Let's get to it. It is the DM Gaming Morning Show, and it starts now. Class is in session, y'all. Thank y'all for being here. DM Gaming Morning Show. Y'all, I'm enjoying doing this. I really am. I've always wanted to be on the radio, having my own show, kind of. I understand when you're on a radio station, you kind of, you're directed as far as what to talk about, what to do, how to act. And doing it this way, man, I got that freedom, man. I can talk about whatever I want, say whatever I want, however I want to say it. And I like that. But anyway, I think the biggest news today, in my opinion, as far as in the sports world, of course, you have baseball playoffs going on. And we don't really talk about baseball. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I don't really follow baseball that much, every show is a little bit different. I love football. Love the sport of football. I care for the sport of basketball. I'm okay with the sport of baseball. The reason I don't follow or talk about baseball that much, y'all, is because I don't really follow the game of baseball, and I respect it so much that I don't want to do it injustice by, spitting off random stuff about it that I really don't know the backdrop and the history and things like that. I would love to get somebody on the show who's a huge fan of baseball that can talk on the show about baseball. So if you are a baseball fanatic and you want to appear on the DM Gaming Morning Show for baseball analysis and things like that, Message me on Twitter. Send me a direct message because I do have Skype and other ways that we can get you involved to where the people can hear you on the DM Gaming Morning Show. And I think that would be fantastic for the show as well. So there you go. Open invitation right there. In basketball news, in NBA news, and I think this was the most interesting news and potentially drama-filled news at the same time, is that the NBA is doing away with their East-West All-Star game. What they're going to do is basically the two people who get the most votes by the fans and stuff like that, they are going to be the two team captains for the respective teams. And they each pick 11 other people. Like, I think there's supposed to be 12 people on each team. And they both pick 11 other people to be on the All-Star team. And I'm not sure, but I want to say those other 22 people are also people that the fans voted. So they'll have basically a bucket of people that have been selected to the All-Star. And then from there, they'll pick teams. That's going to be very interesting. It's going to be some very awkward situations. Because, I mean, like, I was just thinking, can you imagine LeBron being one of the captains and, you know, Kyrie sitting there, you know, like, do you pick Kyrie? You know, same thing if KD ends up, you know, a captain. I mean, do you pick Russell? Do you pick Westbrook? You know what I'm saying? It's funny, man. It's real interesting. And then, too, you know, is one side going to be more powerful than the other, you know, a better team than the other and things of that nature? Like, it's going to be very interesting. But me personally, I prefer that kind of format for an All-Star game, but not necessarily having the players pick. I would rather the coaches or the fans pick, you know. The NFL's done this, which the NFL actually is going back to their traditional way of doing the All-Star game. But in times past, they actually were doing it that same way. It wasn't so much a North versus South or East versus West type of thing. It was AFC, NFC still, but it was more or less like, I mean, the fans voted. It wasn't like the players picked. It was just different, and that change is welcome. That change is good. That adaptation is very welcome. So we'll see how that plays out. Are you excited about the basketball season? Yes or no? I know some of y'all on live in 2K, which I still haven't got it, y'all. I made up my mind yesterday that I'm going to get NBA Live. And the reason I'm getting NBA Live is because I'm not a big fan of microtransactions. And from what I've seen, 2K18 is riddled. Like, they are all over the place. You can't even get a haircut without spending virtual currency. And I don't think that that's fair to the consumer. I mean, you know, you've already paid $60-something, maybe 80 or 100, depending on what edition you got for the game. And then you get into the game, and a lot of the stuff that they advertise and put out there that got you to buy the game is locked behind virtual currency. Now, don't get me wrong. You can earn virtual currency and you can play like GM mode and stuff like that without virtual currency. But let's be real. A lot of people that play 2K play it to level up their character, take them to my park and things like that to make him very unique. And in this year's rendition of the game, that's very difficult because all of those things are locked behind a virtual currency paywall. Now, where NBA Live to me is better than 2K is, first of all, the graphics. NBA Live's graphics look better than 2K's to me. Some players do look better in 2K, but, you know, overall, like the stadium, the atmosphere, everything looks better to me in NBA Live. The animation seems to be a lot smoother. And the thing that I liked the most was that in NBA Live, when you score, it feels like you earned it. It feels like you earned that. And it's kind of the same way, like even in Madden. Madden is riddled with bugs. There's some issues still prevalent with Madden 18, be that as it may. I love how they improved the defense, but it's still not where it needs to be. I'm hoping that's a work in progress for them, but they did take a step in the right direction because it doesn't matter if you play on Pro, All Pro, or All Madden. Even on All Pro, you can have a challenging game. You can the defense, they play the ball extremely well. You're no longer able to just get out there and pass all game long. You got to actually pay attention to where you're throwing the ball, and I love that. So when you do get that completion or you do get that big receiving play that goes for a touchdown, it literally feels like you've earned it. And I like that. I like that about Madden. I like that about NBA Live. That's what drew me to NBA Live. You know, it's, man, I just scored a point. I felt like I earned that, you know. And then for NBA Live, they have loot crates. And these loot crates are free. You earn these points in the game, and you use those points to buy the loot crates. There is no microtransactions for it. And I like that. And I hope that EA would stay that way because, you know, with Madden and Ultimate Team, they're walking a thin line. They're on very thin ice, but if anybody's walking that thin ice the right way, it's EA Sports. Because with Ultimate Team, you don't have to buy packs. Like if you just play the Ultimate Team stuff, you'll earn the currency and things like that to have packs, to get packs. You'll get packs and stuff like that. And so I do like that. But however, I'm afraid because like Draft Champions now, it's basically you have to pay coins to do Draft Champions now. And that's a step backwards, you know, that I didn't appreciate, I didn't like, and I didn't understand why they did that. But anyway, y'all, so your boy gonna go with NBA Live 18. I have to. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs. I want to talk about them for a minute because Kansas City is undefeated. And it's not the first time. I think it's actually the, third time in the past 8 years. But are they the real deal? Now, I don't get into debates like this in the NFL simply because you've only had one NFL team out of the history of the NFL that went the entire season undefeated, and that was the Dolphins. Now, but be that as it may, every year when I see teams that are undefeated, I'm sitting there wondering, can they go all the way and stay undefeated? Like, I would love to see that history made. You know, I would love to be a part of that and see that, you know. But Kansas City, I mean, they're a fascinating team. You know, it seems as if the only team that gets in the way of the Kansas City Chiefs is the Kansas City Chiefs. And I really don't feel like Andy Reid gets he doesn't get enough credit. Let's remember, when he was with the Philadelphia Eagles, when he had Donovan McNabb, that he basically made that program, that they were in NFC Championship games, seems like almost every year, even playing against the beloved Michael Vick-led Falcons one year, in which I think I want to say the Falcons lost that game. They didn't make it to the Super Bowl, but I digress. Andy Reid is a very good coach, a very calm, under the radar type coach. Like you hear the Belichicks, you hear, you know, about all the other coaches in the league. You don't really hear about Andy Reid. But it was kind of the same way when he was in Philly. So, you know, but be that as it may, he's an awesome coach. Alex Smith is one of those quarterbacks who has bounced back, especially with his situation in San Francisco, coming out of Utah, being a top round draft pick. You know, people thought he was washed up. People thought this was a draft bust. And here he goes to Kansas City. And wow, you know, he fits the mold. And they don't do a lot of downfield passing, you know. They might test the waters here and there, but Kansas City plays Kansas City's football game, you know, as well as they should, you know, and I love it. I like seeing it, I like watching it, and I think that, you know, even with them losing Jamal Charles, which I found out he's on the Broncos, I was surprised about that. And the way that they replaced him, essentially with this rookie running back, I mean, it's like they haven't missed a step. It's like they've almost even gained a step. And I like that. I like that. I like the way Kansas City. I like the way Kansas City is doing what they're doing, and you know they've beaten the Patriots. But here's the thing about the Patriots, y'all. The Patriots aren't the Patriots of the past. This is the 2017, 2018 Patriots. You know, a lot of people looking at the Patriots and there's like comparing them to past years and past successes and things like that. And you really can't do that. That's really not fair because each year in the NFL, every team is different. It's the same way in college, same way in high school. You know, it's every year is different because these defensive coordinators, y'all, like the way Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott busted out on the scene, had awesome rookie years. Those defenses are gonna adjust. So if you know, that's why, like I said, I'm not jumping on the Deshaun Watson bandwagon because I'm not saying he's not a great player, but I'm not jumping on that bandwagon. Same way if Mitchell Trubisky go in there, and I think that Mitchell Trubisky will actually do good because teams had, you know, going into the season, they didn't think he was going to be starting. They probably didn't even think he was going to be paying, especially how much they were going to be paying Mike Glennon in Chicago. You know, so he has a chance to be successful. What I'm saying is don't get so caught up in that rookie season success. Same way with Akeem Hunt. Same way with Dalvin Cook had he not gotten injured and things like that. You know, I like to look more at the sophomore, junior year, you know, third year in the league. You know, if those guys are still producing, then we can say that these guys are the real deal because it's all about adversity. How do you adjust? Because yeah, you're new to the league. They don't have any film on you in the league. You know, they don't know necessarily how to play against you. But the next year, and the perfect example for me is RG3. RG3 lit it up his rookie season, as did Cam Newton. You know, but RG3 hit that sophomore slump. You know, it was like, what happened? You know, it wasn't that he wasn't a good ball player. Yeah, he did have some injuries and things of that nature, and the offense to me could have been ran a lot better. I think they kind of set him up for those injuries by running them so much. But I digress. RG3, the defenses, even with Washington's offense, it was almost Washington's offense with RG3 was almost revolutionary with the option. They, you know, I was surprised to see that's like, wow, they actually brought the option back to or brought it to the NFL. And as you all know, if you've ever ran an option play in Madden, it's difficult to run. The option play in general on the NFL level is difficult to run simply because guys are a lot faster, guys are a lot smarter, guys are a lot quicker. And so plays like that don't really work as well as they would at the collegiate level. But Washington did it. Defenses weren't ready for it. And it showed the following year how they were prepared for it, and they made those adjustments. And so, you know, people don't really consider how well these teams are coached. And that's one thing that, you know, people have to see is that, like I told you, I say this all the time, when you get to the higher up levels, there are teams, you know, like in the when you go from high school to college, from those of y'all in high school, you'll see what I'm talking about. When you get to the collegiate level, it's not so much talent that wins games, it's X's and O's, but that talent still weighs very heavily. Now, when you get to the NFL level, everybody's talented. It's just about being in the right system. And then it's the X's and O's. For instance, Alex Smith at the 49ers, to me, he wasn't in the right system. And that is what led to his success. But when he has a coach who knows how to use his skill set, you know, because what some of these GMs do, they see these guys on the draft board and they say, wow, this guy is the best guy on the draft board. We'll take a chance with him, see if we can mold him to fit our offense. And that guy may not be particularly right for their offense. You know, if you're running a spread offense, you don't necessarily need a power back. Like I was playing Madden the other day, and one of the guys in the chat was telling me, hey, get you a power back. I'm like, I run a spread offense with a zone run scheme. I don't want a power back. I need a one cut back or a speed back. You know, somebody that can hit the hole fast, read those zones and hit the hole fast. You know, I need, you know, and that can take advantage of the defense being spread out. So, you know, it's just one of those things. But it is what it is. You know, at the end of the day, like I said, it comes down to strategy in the NFL. That's why Belichick is such a great coach. You know, that's why the coaches make as much as they do, and that's why it's heavily weighed. You know, you wonder why Dallas Cowboys aren't winning. It's not because of the talent. They've clearly shown they have the talent. Just being real, it comes down to coaching. It comes down to coaching. Jason Garrett is not a good coach for the Dallas Cowboys. He's an excellent coach during the season, but he doesn't. He's kind of like that coach from Georgia, not the one they have now. Can't remember the guy's name, but he would coach Georgia all the way to the SEC championship every year, and when the pressure was on, he would buckle every time, and you know. And that's what I see with Jason Garrett. He coaches them well during the season, but when they get to the playoffs, it's like the play calling is just horrendous. And they buckle and they fold, you know. So coaching is real important, and it's like I said, the strategy at that level is extremely important as well. But I'm gonna take a time out, y'all, for a commercial break in a sense. So just sit tight in the DM Gaming Morning Show, and we'll be right back.
What if I told you that the greatest game ever is not playable at the moment? That if you really want it back, all you have to do is click a couple of buttons. That if you, being one person, take care of this for yourself, it can happen for all of us.
I'm just gonna tell you what, it's NCAA football, what this has to be the best football game of all time. Doesn't matter, Xbox or PlayStation 4, it's the greatest game of all time, yes.
I'll tell you what, man, NCAA 14, man, that's blowing my mind, man.
Sure. Yeah. Football stuff. Yeah, you're gonna be okay.
If you are not watching football right now, I don't know what you are doing with your life. I really don't, Pippin.
All you have to do is follow the link in the description and go and vote, so that those of us who love the game of college football can enjoy it on our Xbox Ones and possibly our PlayStation 4s. Please go and vote. Thank you, and God bless.
All right, y'all, we back. Thank you for sitting through that little commercial break. Trying to throw a little something in there, y'all. We got to get out and vote, man. I want to say that too, man. If you haven't voted for NCAA 14 backwards compatibility, go check out the video on the YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/C/DM Gaming 06. You will see me in my football gear for the picture. Go check out that video, follow the link in the description, and vote. You can also find it on our Twitter at DMGaming5, and that is the number 5, not spelled out 5. So go check that out, y'all. And I got to give a shout out today. Chris. Everybody give Chris a round of applause. Y'all, let me tell you something about Chris. Chris is probably the most active member of the DM&Ms. Chris is serious. Every video we post, Chris has at least one comment on there. Anything we post on Twitter, Chris is in there saying something about it, or tagging me in some stuff, so. And I don't give him enough credit, man. He is, as far as support, he is tremendous in that department. And Chris, we appreciate you. We thank you for the support, man. Chris, that type person where if it's just one subscriber, he's going to be the best one because he's going to be there talking, telling you what he wants and stuff like that. And Chris been asking me for a while, y'all, to do a video about Need for Speed. I did a live stream on it the other day, but Chris wanted a video, so we got to give Chris what he want. But once again, I guess I'll call it the subscriber of the week, or the DM and M of the week. It goes to Chris, y'all. So give him a round of applause again. Now, one thing that I wanted to kind of talk about outside of the sports world, kind of into the gaming world in a sense, is Madden. And I wanted to do a video on this, but I also want to talk about it for those of you who are listening in this morning. And that is competition in sporting games. I love to sit here and debate about NBA 2K and NBA Live, which one is better. I love that, you know, and I really wish, and I know the community wishes as well, that we had the same thing for NFL football. And I guess everybody's pretty much the same on that. You know, people love to play the game of Madden, but I think largely in part that's because Madden is the only NFL football game on the market. And some people will say, well, that's because the NFL only wants one team to represent it. No, that's not why. EA Sports bought out the rights. They made a contract deal with the NFL that they would be the only one who could use their likeness, their logos, their images, their all of that. You know, it was a power move. It was a business move, and from a business standpoint, it was brilliant. However, and I'm pretty sure there's people at EA that don't agree with how things are going at EA as far as Madden is concerned, but they're not in a position to make a change without potentially risking losing their job or something to that effect, you know, because listening at a lot of what Rex said, it kind of gives the impression that Rex knows exactly what we want and knows and probably wants it as well. But there's a major hurdle called marketing that gets in the way of some of that. For instance, I don't think Rex truly wanted Long Shot. I think Rex would have preferred to give us more of a career mode, as far as like a single player career mode type thing. But they wanted to do Long Shot so bad. They wanted to do Long Shot. The marketing department, even, you know, and that's why he couldn't talk about the game and stuff like that, which it really wasn't much to talk about because nothing was different in the way of connected franchise mode. And I remember making a video about Madden 19, and the comments was pretty brutal, man. People were saying, you know, well, it's too early for this, you know, thumbs down, and you shouldn't be talking about this. Madden 18 just came out. But it's not too late. If you wait till next year to talk about Madden 19, guess what? You might as well not say anything at all, because at that point, the chances of what you're wanting to be put in the game is probably not going to get put in the game. The development process, I would even go as far to say that the development for Madden 19 is already underway. It's already underway. Yeah, they're still going to support Madden 18, but think about this. You can't say, well, they still got to support Madden 18, so they can't work on 19. That's not true. Madden 17 was still getting updates and Madden Ultimate Team updates all the way up to launch of Madden 18. So it is now that you need to get out your voices and your concerns. EA has a forum that you can go to on their website, and you need to make an account if you don't have one already. But on that website, on that forum, they have many different discussions. One of which that I'm very interested in is additions to or improvements to connected franchise mode. If you ask me what I would like to see in connected franchise mode, I would like to see more immersion. I'm gonna sum it up because I don't want to waste time going into detail on here, because like I said, I'm gonna do a video on that later. But I would like to see more immersion. I want to be stuck in. I want a career mode, a connected franchise mode that's so good, so in depth that it makes you want to do everything. For instance, you have some people who don't really care to do free agency. You have some people who really don't care to do the draft. Now, I did hear a guy in the chat the other day said that he got I don't know if it was a running back or a quarterback that had like 90s. Some of his attributes was in the 90s, and I thought that was phenomenal. But, even looking at the draft, it's like, it's just something missing. There's not enough there to draw me in, to make me want to get engaged in the draft. I mean, I look at their attributes and stuff. I put them on my draft board. I do all of that stuff, and I pay attention to how they play to make sure they fit my scheme and things of that nature. But there's still something missing. Same way, of course, we all know presentation. Now, the reason they said presentation, took a back seat this year is because a lot of the Madden crew was working on both long shot and helping NBA Live establish their game, get their game up and running. And, I'm okay with that. But if you don't bring in more people, more personnel that can do those things, you're going to run into the same issue year in and year out. FIFA to me is an EA game that's extremely well done. FIFA is a game that you're going to get the immersion that you're looking for. NHL is the same way. I hadn't played 18, but playing 17, it's immersive. It draws you in. The presentation, everything, And it seems like Madden, year in and year out, is just missing the ball. It's like, as far as improvements, they take baby steps. Even with the Frostbite engine, the game does look better, but it doesn't look that much better. You get what I'm saying? And I know it's their first year on the Frostbite, but and they talk about, they even have a thing in the game where it says, that they show the outside of the stadiums and stuff. And as long as I've played it, y'all, I probably have seen the outside of one stadium. Player intros are, to me, choppy. And I understand that. Here's the thing we have to understand about player intros. When they talked about player intros, I'm thinking about in former Maddens where like your top 3 players came out and you actually seen them come out. Ray Lewis would do his little dance and all that kind of stuff. And when you watch the trailer, it gave the false illusion that you would kind of get something like that, but more in depth. They even had the camera behind the crowd. And you put in the game and you don't get none of that. And when you do see something cool, it's like, okay, I want to see how this plays out. It jumps to another scene. And I understand it's a replay. It's not live. That's the difference, y'all. We have to understand that the player intros are not current. If you listen to the commentary, it tells you this was the players coming out to the field earlier today. It tells you that this isn't them coming out right now. No, this is them coming out earlier. So it's showing snippets. You see what I'm saying? And so it looks cool. It is pretty neat. But like I said, it missed me. The immersion, it's like as soon as it grabs you, it drops you, lets you go. So, I mean, there's a lot of improvements that can be made, especially with the Frostbite engine. I'm very interested to see in Madden 19 how they use the Frostbite engine to get rid of animation tackles, because that is the worst. I've got plenty of film. If you watch my live streams, there's times where I'm just in the instant replay menu for like 5 or 10 minutes going through one play. And y'all know, y'all been on the live streams, going through one play, showing everybody like, look at this. How is that a tackle? How did he get him down? But I digress. Last subject today that I want to talk about, y'all, is power teams. Power teams in sports. Class is in session, and if y'all can hear somebody cutting grass outside, that's because they out there cutting grass and it's loud. But anyway, power teams in sports. If Clemson and Alabama, and I'm going to put a poll on Twitter, if Clemson and Alabama plays in the national championship again, will you still be excited to see the game? Yes or no? Also, do you think that power teams in a sense are ruining sports? for instance, like college football, everybody pretty much knows it's going to be Clemson and Alabama unless one of them slip up and lose a big game. But like in the NBA, for instance, okay, the Thunder, they're a contender. The Celtics, they're a contender. But prior to that, it was Golden State and Cleveland. Like, you already knew they were going to be there, Does that ruin sports for you? Because I understand everybody kind of buys into that rivalry and you pick a side and then you face off, type of thing. But I'm going to be honest, like as far as college football is concerned, I would like to see different teams in the championship game. Same with the NFL. I would like to see somebody other than the New England Patriots, Those make for very exciting games because you don't know what to expect. And it's not Alabama's fault that they're good. It's not Clemson's fault that they're good, Ohio State's fault that they're good, These other teams are able to recruit as well, and it is what it is. Now, there is a trend that's starting now where before you had a lot of players going to Alabama and places like that, but you also have a lot of players that's going to other big-time schools because they look at Alabama and they say, well, their depth chart is too big, where I could go to this school. And it is, I like this because if you looked at NCAA 14, which y'all need to go and vote for, when you were playing the Road to Glory mode and you're getting recruited and stuff like that, at the end, whenever you're picking your school, it shows you where you're going to show up on the depth chart. And this is how revolutionary that game was, because that's true. In real life, you have those decisions. You can kind of see where you're going to end up on the depth chart. So if I'm looking at two schools, I'm looking at Oregon and Alabama, for whatever position I'm playing corner. And if I look at Alabama and it says I'm going to be a fourth string, I'm going to be like, I don't know. But I go to Oregon and it says, hey, you could be second string or even a starter, which second string pretty much is a starter because there's two corners on the field at all times. And so you're like, I could go here and play immediately, or if playing immediately is not a major concern to me, I want to work and pass up people on the depth chart. I want to go that route. You have that option. And I like that about the game. I like that. And I like that about college football because you do have players who've received scholarship offers from Alabama and other big time programs, but decided to go to smaller schools because they want to play. They want to make an impact. They don't want to ride the bench, or they don't want to. And I'm not going to say they don't want to compete for a position, but I would, they'd rather compete with one person or two people rather than 4 and 5. I mean, you look at Alabama's backfield, and boy, they're set for the next 4 years easy. Because Najee Harris, as good as he is just a freshman. And it almost begs the question, why didn't they redshirt him? You got Bo Scarborough and you got other backs. Why didn't they redshirt him? But, it is what it is. Maybe that was a decision that both those parties sat down and talked about. And Najee probably was like, look, I want to go to the league as fast as I can. And they're like, well, okay, we just won't redshirt you, So I don't know. But it pays. It pays to pay attention. And for y'all young guys that are looking at going into these colleges, if the coach ain't talking to you about their depth chart, you might want to be looking at their depth chart, because if they got a freshman that's a starter, it's going to be a battle to get that starting position. Not saying you can't do it. Not saying you can't do it, but you got a 4-year fight on your hand to do it. You get what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things, man. And I just wondered, like, when it comes to college football and stuff like that, do I want to see Alabama and Clemson in the national championship again? I like watching Alabama play. I like watching Jalen Hurts. I like watching the Alabama defense. I'm not, a Crimson Tide fan. I'm a huge Oregon Duck fan if I picked one in college. But, I mean, wouldn't it be cool to see somebody else that you don't ever see in the national championship? Like, what if Louisville made it to the national championship against, Louisville and TCU, because TCU's playing pretty good this year, and they can sneak up on some people, especially if they knock off Oklahoma. Well, I don't know if they play Oklahoma this year. They played Oklahoma State. I don't know if they play Oklahoma, but you get what I'm saying. San Diego State, same thing. San Diego State's undefeated right now, and they got a chance to run the table. So, what do you say about them? it's going to be very interesting. Just imagine. So also, we'll probably put that on Twitter as well. What two teams would you like to see in the national championship if it's not Clemson and Alabama? So we'll put that there as well. But y'all, that's all we got for today, man. It's like I said, it's not a whole lot going on in the sports world right now. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank y'all for stopping in. Thank y'all for being in, being the people that y'all are. And that's all we got for right now. Signing off like we sign off always. Till next time, y'all. And God bless.